Hi, everyone. Welcome to February's Quantum Art video. This painting this month has been kind of intense for me personally. Like I say, the paintings themselves become a teacher even for me. And so it's such a beautiful process, and I'm so grateful to kind of be a part of it. So I hope that you enjoy all of the messages this month. There's a lot of themes, and this month is all about the heart, right? Which is pretty intense. The energies this month they've been pretty intense. I mean, intense is the word to use, truly. In some ways, it's been a very beautiful kind of unfolding. It's not calm though. It's not like there's like calm energy. It is kind of intense where, you are awakening or you are holding on to old ways. This month's energy can be pretty intense. So this month's energy is similar to like birth. So it's very painful, but the process in the end, the turnout is amazing. Hopefully, you are grounding yourself during this month. That's extremely important energetically. So, because there's so much kind of coming in, my guides woke me up this morning and said, hey, we're just done with this major energetic shift. And so you're still integrating some of those energies. And what that looks like on a human scale is that you're dealing with some stuff. You're dealing with, a huge increase of energy on the planet, or even like solar flares. What that actually means from our humanness is that it'll interact with our being in a way that totally personal to you. So in some ways, these energy shifts, think of it like mathematically, like higher frequencies, right? Like not higher as in better, but just higher in general, right? So this energy is impacting your being. So in some ways it's lighting up, and what's going to light up, it's going to light up all the areas that aren't necessarily to that frequency. So we become aware of those lower vibrational thoughts, lower vibrational behaviors. In some ways it's a beautiful thing because it's shining light on areas that it's really inviting into this light. But acclimating to that frequency, what we mean by that is like you're having to kind of look at your stuff, you're having to really look at, the ways, it's not the fun stuff, the ways where you're stuck, or the ways where you're not taking responsibility, and you're unmotivated or whatever it is. That is a huge theme this month. And we are moving into the second half of the month. And the second half of the month is about, after that heaviness is like kind of lifted, it's going to help propel and manifest this beautiful birth of what you want. So we start with the heart, and it's all about the heart, because what does your heart want? I mean, that's really, this whole year is about you, right? And what it is, and you manifesting and creating beautiful, amazing things on this planet, So what are the things that are holding you back? That's kind of what's happening right now. It's like those things are coming up. What are the things, the belief systems within you, right? Those negative self-talk, if you're doing that, that's going to arise, right? You're going to really notice that, because those things can't come with us, right? You can't have success, but then you're also self-sabotaging yourself, right? I mean, you have to look at that self-sabotaging behavior. Otherwise, it is going to hold you back. So, here is the painting that I created, and I called it Choosing. So in this way, and right, choose happy. I wore this on purpose, and it's yellow, so it's my power chakra, right? So it's really like a conscious choice. But choosing, really give yourself permission to be great. Give yourself permission to have what it is that you want. We are in charge of our stories, and we are responsible for our success or not our success. We get to choose both. And sometimes some of those stories are really heavy because they've just been inbred in us. It could be a familial or ancestral story that you've been carrying for a long time. But choosing, so really allowing yourself to be great, allowing yourself to be talented or powerful or amazing or beautiful or whatever it is that you're desiring. Can you allow yourself to choose that? And that's, please give yourself permission. And we're going to kind of break this down, this painting down. It really does start off as this huge energy coming in. And so it is part of this huge energy shift that's happening this month. And this is what's being offered, you know. So you see this color kind of coming through, and it's purple. So it's really high frequency. It's like super high frequency, right? So we're dealing with like our third eye and our crown chakra energies, where, you know, can you be open-minded enough, not controlling, like, hey, I'm going to do this, being open-minded enough to say, hey, I want this, or I choose this, right? I feel this. And being open, right? Keeping our crowns open to really seeing what happens after we make that choice. You know, there's been a lot of information coming at me about, you know, the ones that succeed are the ones that don't give up, you know, are truly the ones that just keep going at it. And I personally know that just as an artist, like, you know, I started out with as humble beginnings, not really knowing how to paint at all. But I liked how it felt. I really liked, my heart really enjoyed painting. Like, I never took painting in high school. And so I was a semester away from a physics degree or a Bachelor of Science in math. And I switched to art. I didn't have parents, so I don't know if it was the smartest thing to do, but I love the story of that, of just taking that leap, because it wasn't bringing me joy. And I saw that path was going to be very long and arduous. I didn't really want that path. I didn't want the female in the math department kind of path. And I really loved how art made me feel. So it's about really allowing yourself to jump, right? And then I never gave up on that dream. So I kept choosing painting. I kept choosing painting. Even when I wasn't making money, I kept choosing painting. And I took on full-time jobs and I tried to do the painting thing on the side, but I never gave up. And I had to take a lot of risks to get there and really kind of choose my dream over and over and over again. And there were a lot of hiccups and there were a lot of moments when I really wanted to. I wanted to give up, or I wanted to, you know, would just face with such adversity, you know. And I feel like that is almost like a rites of passage in a way, you know. But keep choosing your dreams, you know. And I love that this is a huge theme this month, because, you know, what happens, you know, when you make that choice, you're like, hey, I want to be abundant. You know, we talk about this a lot. And so you might even know what I'm about to say. But as soon as you make these choices, you know, you will be faced with parts of yourself, if they exist. If they don't exist within you, you're not going to be shown these. But as soon as you choose that, you will be shown parts of yourself that don't believe it. So parts of myself that think it was stupid because, you know, there's no money in art, or all of these belief systems that could be around whatever your dream is, right? Like, hey, I've never written a book before, I can't write, or whatever that belief system, you got to look at it. You got to look at that voice, and you got to look at it with your heart to say, hey, whose voice is that? Is that mine, or is that social conditioning? And you have to break that down, because that voice needs to be reconciled with that part of you that might believe that that's true. Otherwise, you're just going to sit in that space of warring parts. A warring part of you, meaning like you don't think it's possible to, and you think it's possible. You don't think it's possible. You think it's, you'd be oscillating back and forth. And what we're suggesting is looking at those head on, like looking at them assertively, like looking at them consciously and with intention. Like, do any of those things exist within me? And that's this huge piece. Like, are you open-minded enough to even allow for your dream to even manifest? Are there parts of you that think you can't make money at that, or you can't do this because of that, or whatever you're thinking, whatever your hiccups are with what your dreams are, or what you really want? And it could be like you want a baby, or you want this, and you could be 47 and being like, hey, I can't have a baby right now, or whatever. But if that's what you're really being called to do, right? If that's the divinity within you speaking, you can't fail. You really can't fail. And it's really about trusting and surrendering. So we move, this energy that's here is part of this purple pinks kind of higher energy. And we start right away with, are you open to the possibility of even that happening? And then it opens up this portal, this doorway, this reality of this chasm, of this cave, of this conch shell. It can have all of those meanings, right? And what does that mean? And this is your heart. This symbolizes your heart and the courage it truly takes to choose your heart. And I don't care who you are. It's not easy for anybody. Because in our heart, both dark and light exist. And so it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows, right? There's hard things there. There is all of the things that you are, and there's all of the things that you are not. So you have angels and demons, right, in that space. And so it's this magical space within us that is connected to the divinity within, to all that exists everywhere, the great I am. That's in our heart. That's not in our head. That's not our thinking space. It's in our hearts. And that's really where we're being invited to go. And no matter who you are or where you are on this planet, everyone's hearts are awakening and expanding further and further. So it could feel very jarring right now for you, or it could feel freeing. Both are possible, and so many things in between, right? Whatever you're experiencing is what's meant for you. But this is the energy that's coming in this month. And so as we explore, look at that center, look at even this cross of energy, right? It almost looks like a cross upside down. And then you even have like a cross of the light above it, right? And that too is very symbolic. Everything in this painting is symbolic. So kind of like what you're crossed to bear in a way, which is kind of really has a negative connotation, but let's set that down. Let's set down all of our crosses to bear. It's like enough already, really, truly. We need to have fun and joy and laughter. And we need to let down this victimization paradigm. It's time to put down the crosses to bear, right? Like things don't have to be light. Everything is repairable. And we're remembering that. Like we get to choose our reality. Let's choose a reality that's great and fun. But also a cross actually is part of the symbol of the medicine wheel of Native Americans. Right? It's actually way older than Christianity, this cross. And so when you look at the history of symbols, it actually does date even before even some of these Native American tribes. It's a very old symbol. And it is about pulling yourself into the center, returning home. So in Native American cultures, right, it's about mastering all four directions. And as you move on this wheel, you really do embody all that you are. So even though there might be places on the wheel that you are experiencing in the moment, understanding and having the wisdom that even though you might be in the West or you might be in the East, there still is the West or the East. Right? There still is the North and the South. There is always parts of you. You are whole. And as you move and oscillate between all of these directions, let's say, and you master them and you start really understanding all aspects of your life, this experience, it becomes less and less in those experiences and more about this spiral where you become more present and more in the now, and you move through those lessons, quote unquote, quicker and quicker and quicker. So, these ups and downs or whatever, these oscillations, you are really pulling yourself back to the center more and more. And so the goal truly is about you returning home into the center, and it is in this heart space. And that's ultimately why Brenda and I really create programs where we're about, really, how do you cultivate that center space? How do you cultivate this now space? And it takes daily practices of like, hey, how do I feel right now? What's going on? And unique to you get to do it. There's no right or wrong. And that's where, I have suggestions, things that I use, but things that I do, Brenda doesn't do, and things that Brenda does, I don't do. Right. So it's really finding whatever really kind of allows you to feel at home. For some, it's going to be music. Someone's going to be drawing. Someone's going to be writing. Someone's going to be walking. Someone's going to be talking. So finding whatever it is that brings you back, and that's partly how you enter into this heart space, into this conch shell. And there is huge symbolism. The whole universe exists in a conch shell. The Fibonacci sequence. The ultimate spiral that exists everywhere in nature mathematically. It just kind of demonstrates the magic and the mystery and the magnitude of the story of life. And so it's really kind of a precious thing, and it's kind of extremely magical and amazing. So as you enter into this conch shell, or this is your heart space, there are so many layers to it. It's complex. It's not like, hey, go to your heart, and like in a whim, just go to your heart. Stop thinking so much. Go to your heart. Like, man, it's not easy, okay? Coming from somebody that, has had separated, because I really have returned home in a lot of ways. But I had separated based off of trauma or based off of conditioning, or feelings were stupid or weak, right? And really entering into space and wisdom of knowing that every single piece has such knowledge and wisdom, and it needed love. So the complexity of your own heart, and as you navigate those waters, that pathway, you will begin to find light in the dark. I mean, that's natural. It is literally how you find light in the dark, is you have to allow for those feeling spaces to arise. And we talk about that a lot. But this month specifically, it is a lot. It's a very vulnerable thing. Can you allow yourself to be great? Can you allow yourself just to have what it is that you want? In some ways, it's easier to keep that separate because you've survived so long without it. And Spirit's saying, it's time now. It's time to actually receive. It's time to go after your dreams. It's time to be bigger than whatever you thought you were. You're actually meant to be way bigger than any of us think, because they're telling me right now in this moment that everyone that's listening to this, we're all meant to be way bigger than that. Whatever you're thinking, even bigger than that, even more amazing than that. In some ways, you can't even conceptualize where Spirit wants you to go, how big and amazing and brilliant, and how to shine your light that Spirit wants you to go. It's about surrendering and following your joy. It is, in those words, that simple, and that's not always very simple, right? I mean, we have bills to pay, we have dogs to walk, we have children to raise, or grandchildren to raise, or relationships to tend to, right? How do we manage all these things? So Spirit is like, this month, can you be open enough to choose? To choose you, choose you, choose you. Keep committing to what it is that you want, because it's right here. Even though it might not seem like it, it is. It's right here. And because of the energy shift that has just taken place, they said it's done, but we're still integrating it. And that's partly why it was so intense the first couple weeks in February, and partly why now I can share this message, because we're coming out of it. In some ways, you wouldn't have even been able to hear it because we were in it. And I probably wouldn't have been able to share it. So there's steps to, can you allow yourself to choose it? So that's like the first step. This is kind of the message right now. The first part of the message is, can you choose it? Please choose it. That's what they want. They're giving you permission to have that, right? They're giving you permission to choose it. Whatever it is for you, can you be great? You are great, right? And then tend to all the little parts of yourself that think otherwise, because they're not true. They're lies. They're all lies. You get to say, because as soon as you allow yourself that, I'm a painter, I'm an artist, right? Can I let myself be an artist? Because as soon as I choose it 100%, let's say, I'm going to use me as an example. As soon as I own it 100% and I truly believe that I'm an artist, the universe will provide that, provide opportunities, right? Provide clients, provide growth in that skill. It's extremely hard for the universe to give you what you think you want when there's other parts of yourself that are saying that you are not those things. And that's why they're saying, choose it, choose it, choose it, and tend to those parts that are lying to you. Because you are allowed to have all of the things that you want and desire. And the things that you're seeing as evidence that you shouldn't have it aren't real. They're just feeding those darker parts within you. Those aren't true. You actually get to have what it is that you want. So the evidence, oh, well, no, the universe doesn't want, no, the universe wants whatever you want. The universe wants your heart, whatever your heart is. You have to face that adversity. You're going to have to face, I've had to face in my own journey, people not liking my paintings. I've had to face that. People not understanding them or not liking them or getting them. And I didn't even get some of them. So I had to face that within me, where I had to be like, you know what, even if people don't like it, I still have to paint. So that was one hurdle, right? I still need to paint. I want to paint. So you keep showing up for yourself. You keep, putting your feet in, digging your heels in, and you keep choosing this and facing those parts. There's opportunities right now this month that are going to come up as you make these choices of those opposite beliefs. And it's your responsibility to look at them and love them, right? And say, yes, I see you. Oh, the unworthiness. Ah, yes. That's a very old friend, the unworthiness. I see you, but we're still going to choose this, and we're allowed, if that's within you. And you have a lot of help. So as you really believe and you say, hey, I am an artist and that's what I want. I want this. I'm allowed to have it. They're saying, yes, you are. You're allowed to have that. And then, so this is the heart space. So whatever it is for you, figuring out what that is, what do you want to choose? Then the next step after facing these parts, and this is a process, right? I mean, it's been a process for me for years, where I've come from, right? Where it was a very opposite, and that was my journey, right? So years might only be 6 months or 3 months, you get to say anyways. And honestly, now the energy with this month, especially, the whole universe is at your back and supporting you, is putting winds in your sails. So make choices, please, that are in alignment with your heart. The next step after facing those parts is really aligning your throat chakra. And this has been important for me. And so that's partly why I'm sharing it here, is aligning your throat chakra. Is aligning your throat chakra with your heart. We talked about that in our last podcast about aligning our throats with our hearts. So if you missed that, you can listen to our podcast. That's on our website. But it's really about aligning our voice, giving voice to our heart. So maybe it's not about work for you. Maybe it's about relationships, and you're really trying to manifest and create amazing supportive relationships. And if that is, it's like, are you speaking what you're seeing and feeling? Are you sharing your perspective? Are you speaking up for your needs and wants? Are you giving a voice to your heart? And that is ultimately what this throat is all about. That's its job. If you're people pleasing, that's where it's been hurt here the most. And we talked about that in the podcast, meaning you're always not, your voice is a reflection or mirroring somebody else, and it's not how you really feel. So whenever you say, hey, I like that chocolate cake, when you don't, you're manipulating your throat chakra, because now it's speaking things that aren't aligned with your heart. So you have to almost unravel that. And it's easy. It's easier than you think. It's about just checking in, and then begin practicing speaking what it is that you're feeling and seeing. And that's not always easy. So be compassionate as you do that. But that is the next step here. Can you speak the truth of your heart? Ultimately, do that with yourself first, and then your close circle. And then you get to a place where you're only speaking truth everywhere you go. And as you're doing that, you are aligning yourself with your higher self, and you are in a frequency of abundance in that space. It's when we don't do that, or maybe we're not even aware of how we feel, and we're just kind of speaking from our thinking self of what we should say. When our throat chakras are aligned here instead of here, it does create an imbalance. And we begin to create and manifest a reality that is not based in substance. It's almost like it's not sustainable, and it definitely won't be sustainable as we move forward into this new earth frequency. This new paradigm is about really having strong foundation in knowing of who you are, and acting on that and speaking on that. And that's partly what we'll be doing for decades. And it's okay. I mean, it's all worth it in the end, truly. Another thing Spirit wants me to add in regards to entering this heart space and aligning that with our throat chakras for sure is the difference between making something happen, because there are moments when we all can just be like, I'm doing this no matter what, kind of fake it till we make it. For sure, that energy has to be there a little bit. A reminder in regards to that is vulnerability. If you're vulnerable and you enter into that space, this heart space, you're able to kind of acknowledge maybe some of the fear that it might not happen. And while you're still choosing it, it's like, it's okay that the doubt is there, or it's okay that there is even fear there, all of those other things in between, anger, sadness, or whatever it is. It's like, part of this month is about really getting comfortable about being vulnerable. And that is a key piece, because only you know if you're actually truly being vulnerable. And that means open and receptive when you are scared. That's what vulnerability is. To where you're allowing both to be true. So instead of like controlling it, you're allowing it, even though I'm scared. See the difference? Like, I'm scared that by speaking up for my needs, that my relationship is going to end. Like, that's maybe the fear that's kept you not speaking up this whole time. So instead of being like, no, I'm going to say it, and I'm mad that I never said it, I'm going to be angry about it, right? It's different than saying, hey, I'm even uncomfortable saying this. Like, it's a different energy. And so there's some nuances to this that they're really wanting to kind of share and teach in regards to this month. All right, so that's the heart space. There is a bunch of symbolism within those layers in there, and I'm going to let the painting speak to you for sure. Like, it's really important. And noticing what direction you find yourself kind of compelled to go in, even in that cross, to the left, to the right, backwards, forwards. And noticing forward is into that heart space. It's funny. Anyways, of course, I have to talk about the elephant in the room, or in the case, there's not elephants in the room, there's a owl and a swan. So part of this energy, I'm going to show you, this is the painting before I added the animals. And this really is the energy of February. And there's meant not to be stars over there. It's like we really are moving out of darkness. So we're in the birth canal in some ways. So it's dark. And but there's a lot of energy propelling us into this space. You're kind of almost like they're zooming us into our heart space. And so whatever's in there for you personally is going to be kind of, expanded upon or zoomed in. So it's okay. Nothing bad is happening. We're just kind of moving through these layers. So this is the energy, and I just want you to sit with it for a minute. You can pause the video if you want to really look at it. And then I added the animals, because the animals are bringing with it this softness and this divine femininity to it. So it's not such a logical process. And in the painting without the animals, you can really feel the energy, and it is uncomfortable. There's an uncomfortableness to this energy. And the animals provide this nurturing energy to it, almost like it brings the earth in, because the earth is needed here. So it did supply this energy of this earth. And then it also brings with it this earth, this nurturing energy, and just a couple other details that they want you to know this month. Partly, we have the swan energy. In the swan energy, they do mate for life. So there's that. We're not meant to be alone. We are meant to kind of commune. So kind of reaching out to your community and really trying to make connections. So that's going to become more and more important as we go on. But the swan, traditionally Native American tradition, it truly is about having faith and surrendering. And that is way easier said than done sometimes, especially in the dark. And noticing that it is partly in the dark. It's in that part of the painting, but it is helping bridge you to this heart space. So truly having faith and trust that all is well and everything is happening for your highest and greatest good. And surrendering to that. It's not always easy because we like control. We do as human beings. We love control, but I'm just kind of feeling into that. And moving into the owl. The owl is a snowy owl, so it is a winter animal. And so the symbolism of winter, so it really is, the winter is in the north, the direction of north for the Native American medicine wheel. And that truly is also associated with the moon or darkness. So really moving into a time of really having to go in and find the light in the dark. And along with that, so it is about these winter months. You might be experiencing that symbolically of having to retreat and go within. But it also is about seeing in the dark, because owls can see in the dark. And it is about really discovering the nurturing aspect of isolation and being alone. So really the solitude. So we have an animal that's like solitude, and then we have an animal that's not at all. And so I feel like it creates such a beautiful balance. But it also is about trusting your own intuition and really developing your own unique language, your own unique connection with spirit, right? It's like, that's what's truly going to bring you sustenance. That's what's truly going to nurture your soul, is about creating and cultivating this unique connection. And then this animal here, the owl, and that development of your own unique connection and communication with the divine is holding on to this weave that's around this whole portal. And that is associated with our DNA. So this is the only game in town, and everyone's waking up, and it's awakening up in our DNA. It's at a cellular level that we're waking up, and you can feel it. Our vibration is shifting, our frequency is shifting, and really trusting our own how we see it, right? And how we intuitively feel about things, right? You develop that for yourself. That's something I can't do for you. That's something you have to do completely on your own. And it's so unique and special for you. And having faith and surrender, even in them, that's partly why these animals are connected. It's like, yes, you have to be a single individual. You have to have your own wants and needs and be able to kind of take care of those yourself. And then you can honestly become the swan and go out into the world and participate in the community or even with another partner. If you're doing that without having your own identity, it won't be sustainable for your heart. And that's partly this triad here. So we have the symbol of heart, we have the symbol of owl, we have the symbol of swan. And it's almost like this triad of a map of how to kind of navigate through these really kind of tumultuous, kind of rocky times as we activate and integrate into these higher frequencies that are kind of coming into the planet that are really affecting our DNA and our physical bodies on a very cellular level. So that's a lot. There's a lot in there. Listen to this as many times as you need to, but there's more to the owl. The owl, last thing for the owl, does have yellow eyes, and yellow is our power chakra. So it's about making yourself the main character, right? And the owl having the eyes has its eyes on that. Like, so what's best for you? And we don't mean selfishness here. We mean what's good for you is good for the whole. We mean supply yourself with oxygen so then you can help others, right? And making yourself the main character. So if you're creating a movie scene or you're writing a scene in a movie or whatever, like your needs and how you see it is really the only thing that matters. You're the main character. So take that focus just for a minute, right? In regards to your life and what you're choosing. So we started with choosing, we're going to end with choosing now. What do you choose? What do you want for yourself? I hope that you choose the most loving, amazing, miraculous things. Think outside of the box, dream big, right? And this could be your love letter to yourself this month, allowing yourself to be that. Can you give yourself permission and the courage it truly takes to get there? And, you know, in that way, Spirit really is ending with honoring you and honoring all of the beautiful, amazing things that you do to even get to this place and moment in time. You guys are all doing such a tremendous, amazing work. Even if you're experiencing dark emotions, it's okay. Those are part of it. That's part of this integration. It's all right. So sending you so much love. I hope you can feel it. I hope you enjoyed this painting. For those of you that are subscribers, you're going to be getting your card in the mail within the next week or so. And I look forward to sharing with you the next painting. You know, March is right around the corner. I've already begun it. So I'm excited to share that with you too. All right, until next time, guys. Namaste.